This is Off the Break Podcast, presented by Silver Screen Insider.
And welcome to Off the Break Podcast, your podcast dedicated to current movie theater news, operations, and insights from the people that book the movies. I'm Cody, and with me are Kyle and Ken.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going all right.
I'm pepped up this morning.
She's alive. She's alive.
I'm alive. I'm doing better. I'm back in the office just today for this podcast.
Her hair stayed at home.
My hair stayed at home this morning. That's okay. It's gotten really used to working from home.
Right. And it just feels weird being back in the office.
It does a little bit, but it's okay. I like it.
It's nice.
It's nice.
With its walls
nice to see
and
your
doors.
face, Kyle.
Oh, thank you.
That's
really what I was
It's nice
getting
when
at.
with its walls and doors. There's not a
Yeah.
bed 8 feet away, so that's weird.
It is weird. And I don't have the refrigerator right there either.
You don't have your own private executive bathroom.
Nope. Nope. Gotta go to the shared lobby bathroom here.
Right.
That sounds like the saddest bathroom.
I know. Only like
Short of,
3
like-
people use it, but it sounds so sad.
Shared lobby bathroom, amusement park bathroom, and then sporting event
Oh,
bathroom.
what about public
That's the
gas
bottom
station
tier.
bathroom?
Yeah, I've been surprised before.
Some of them can
How
be shiny
about-
clean.
Yeah.
That's true. Some of them can be really scary. Very scary.
That is also true.
You have never had to use the trough before.
No, I don't. Never.
So
Can't say I've ever troughed it.
yeah, so I think that wins number one.
Is that like
Baseball stadium
I was going
bathroom.
to say sports
Yeah.
stadium trough.
Yeah.
Is that really that scary?
It's not scary.
Not scary.
It's just gross.
It's just very exposed. And you bond
Do you
when you don't want to bond.
Because I've never troughed before. Do you trough all on one side or do you trough both sides?
No, you don't do both sides.
Like, can you look a gentleman in the
there
eyes?
would be no friendly fire. No
Yeah.
thanks.
Well, I don't know.
So we have any release changes this week?
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
But we
Do we have it?
But we have new movies.
Yeah.
We have a variety of movies coming out this weekend.
Thank God.
If that's worth it.
We do.
Good
This
job,
week-
Kyle.
This weekend is
Friday the 13th.
Free Guy, mostly.
Yeah.
And Don't Breathe 2.
Sony proper placement for a horror movie. Friday the 13th.
I know.
You sure they don't want to release it on like Wednesday this week just to be safe?
Just to be safe. No, that's pretty good. And then next week, we've got so many movies. We've got Reminiscence from Warner Brothers. And then
Yep.
we've got Night House from Searchlight. And
The Protege.
yeah, the
Protege.
Protege from Lionsgate.
Depends on what language
And,
you
Of course.
speak.
and the best one of all, Paw Patrol from
The
Paramount.
first G-rated movie in what feels like eons.
Yes, yes.
Since Toy Story 4. I love saying that because
What a fun
I
fact.
feel like I'm going through space and time to get back to Toy Story 4.
So weird. So I think it'll be really good. We had some family friends whose daughter has never gone to a movie, and this is the first movie she's ever brought up. Like, she's been actually aware of it.
Sure.
So it definitely is for little kids, though. I mean, it is 4 or 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds. That's the sweet spot age group. But I think
And then
it'll
for the parents that don't want to disappoint their 5 to 6 year olds.
yeah, the sweet spot age group.
That's how they get you.
Be prepared for extra cleaning time between shows.
Oh, so much extra cleaning time. The only issue I'm having with it is that a lot of places the kids are going back to school. If it had just been a week or two before, I think we would have had just more kids
You
have
could have had
access
a longer
yeah.
run
Sure.
too.
Yeah, but going now into Labor Day weekend, we're just hitting the end of summer, and a lot of kids are heading back already.
Yeah, and this is day and date on Paramount Plus.
Yep.
For
Sadly.
is it no charge?
I
No
think
charge.
so. Yeah.
So we'll see what that does, but I think the excitement of getting a kid out to the movies will hopefully override Delta concerns and you know,
Right.
a child making a mess at someone else's house is so much better than them making a mess at your house.
Yes. There's something so sweet about that where you're
Walking
just
away.
like, here, have my child and go crazy.
and then, oh, I'm sorry, we must go.
Yeah. Oh, we gotta go. It's over.
There's a small fire in the back.
Yeah.
Nothing to worry about. So with all those movies coming up, what do your booking strategies look like?
Yeah, it's kind of tough because we have, Free Guy and Don't Breathe 2 opening this week, so you need to make sure that those screens are held over. Because everything is so front loaded, I am giving quite a bit of extra screen time to Free Guy because I think that'll be pretty good this week.
We forgot about Respect too.
Oh, and Respect, yeah.
Because that's going to be...
I forgot about Respect.
Yeah, all the reviews coming in are amazing on it.
Oh, good.
They actually got a singer to play Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, a real singer.
A real singer, like a very impressive singer.
Who might be the equal of Aretha Franklin,
Yeah.
so it
And
helps.
Not saying Aretha Franklin was an uggo, but Jennifer Hudson looks beautiful in all of these trailers.
She did bring a sense of glamour to this movie that I
Yeah.
think was lacking before.
Yeah, so I think that's one's going to be a little bit of a surprise this weekend.
Yeah, hopefully. So all those have to hold over. So that's like 3 screens, just at minimum done right there. And then you are bringing in 4 new films. So something obviously in a 6 and below is not going to get in. And
Something will get left out.
Yeah.
And if Jungle Cruise holds on, then
yeah, we
a
still
couple
have
of things
Jungle
might
Cruise.
be left out.
Suicide Squad will probably still need a 3rd week.
Depending on the market, we've seen very soft grosses a lot of places.
Yeah, we need to talk about that. Suicide was very disappointing, and we'll get into reasons why in our review, but
The Weasel.
but it was overall more disappointing than I thought. In fact, in some of our areas,
Same.
it didn't even do $100 its opening weekend. I mean, I haven't seen something like that since we were knee deep in the pandemic. I mean, they were so bad that I don't even know if I played classic titles that did that bad.
These were like Keanu Reeves replicant grosses.
They were so
Look
bad.
up that movie if you don't
Yeah.
remember it.
Yeah. You won't remember it.
Yeah.
The only reason I do is because that was like the first weekend I came in on a Monday and was like, what happened?
Yeah. No, in some of our locations, the grosses were so bad that I was just shocked. I was like, what happened here? Like,
Was there a terrorist attack?
yeah. I mean, I have some theories.
An attack of any kind?
Yeah.
I have some theories, but it was so disappointing. And, hindsight is always best. And you're like, gosh, if I would have known, I never would have wasted my time because came off great Jungle Cruise. I mean, just really great Jungle Cruise.
Yeah.
To bring in Free Guy this week. If I had just not even messed with Suicide Squad, I would have had my screen, that other screen available. It mostly affected Twins. Twins were where we saw this become a huge issue this week. Where Suicide Squad just so underperformed, it was laughable. And then we had to keep it, and then come off Jungle Cruise doing sometimes 3 or 4 times more gross so we could bring in Free Guy this week. So it was a nightmare on Monday. It was rough.
And I also need to quickly apologize to all the listeners out there. I was very much in the camp of thinking that this was going to be a slam dunk win.
What was
and
the
boy,
number?
was I wrong.
What was the number you said, Kyle?
It might have been around 60 million.
60 million. I had a client who listens to the podcast email me.
He's like, who is
He's
this
like,
guy?
Kyle is out of his mind,
Yeah.
is what he wrote on the email. If he thinks it's going to do $60 million.
I know. My chosen path was to ridicule him at first, and then I backed his position to have him elevate the gross. Like, 100 is better. 400 is better. I was like, what? He went for it. I like the hot take, though. I mean, if we didn't bring it up, he would have looked like a genius. It just would have moved on.
And boy, I wish I did that.
Cody was getting random emails.
Hey,
So
but we're getting people talking about it, and
Yeah.
that's what's important. That's
Well-
how you make content.
Well, I think what it's
Keeping the conversation alive.
I think what it speaks to is that we did have higher expectations for this film. I mean, I didn't have
Yeah.
$60 million expectations, but I thought a solid 30 to 40. Like, it should have performed more.
Yeah.
And then after seeing it, I realized why it didn't.
You can rewind the tape. I think I said 25. Nailed it.
Well, I'm very curious about what you thought, because I'm thinking I have a different perspective on this movie then.
Okay, so we'll get into Suicide Squad reviews, and we're going to talk about that. And then I want to backtrack a little and talk about Jungle Cruise, because I wasn't a part of that last week. So I'll give you my take on both.
You can start wherever you want. Yeah.
But let's start with Suicide Squad. This was one of the few films this year that I was really excited for. I had maybe pumped up my expectations more because of James Gunn coming in. It was going to be a solid R. I was like, ooh, James Gunn getting to do an R. This is going to be awesome.
And Warner Brothers gives people a lot of creative freedom.
Well, they hadn't before. Warner's executives had, for a time during the first Suicide Squad and the Batmans and the Justice League, they were tweaking, nitpicking.
No, I put them
close to the vest.
Yeah.
I put them in the category though of like they let what movie am I thinking of?
Are you thinking of like Nolan or?
Yes, Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
I know, but James Gunn fits in that category.
Yeah.
He's a top 10
Well,
grossing
I think what
director,
they realized
so
was that they
give
were
him freedom.
it wasn't working their input, so they backed off big time on this one.
Well, Disney also gave a lot of input, and that was the reason why he left.
No, he left because he got fired from Disney.
I know, well, there was the thing, but they fired him, and then they realized that this was a huge mistake.
Yeah. They fired him, and then they realized, oh, he's actually hireable, and nobody cares about his old tweets, and it was just all cancel culture BS.
Which I'd like to point out is very funny because when this movie was being released, I never once saw this being mentioned again.
No, not at all. You you forgot why he actually was on this movie.
Yeah, I bet most people don't even remember about that. But anyway, let's continue.
Okay.
Let's keep bringing up stuff that makes you look bad, Kyle.
Yeah.
Time for Kyle to be canceled. He's burning this industry to the ground.
So I had some kind of higher expectations. And then it had Idris Elba, and I was like, "Oh, this is a good like stand-in for Will Smith and stuff." And I liked the characters that I should preface this. I liked the characters that survived from the first one. I like Captain Boomerang and Rick Flag and Harley Quinn. I liked all of those characters, and so I knew there would be new ones, and I knew that because when you saw the character posters and you saw how many new ones were coming in, you're like, a lot of these guys are going to die. Like,
it's in the name.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, they're going to kill off some characters. I didn't realize in the first 20 minutes they killed off a lot of my favorite characters. Like, they introduce a guy.
Like one of them.
Well, one of them, but they introduce a guy that you're like, okay, are we following this guy? And then we just follow him to his death. Like, it just got so gratuitous, the killing in that first part, that it wasn't funny to me. It just was really off-putting. I was like, okay, this is fun. And then them killing Captain Boomerang right away was so lame. Like, that just set the
Spoilers,
tone.
by the way.
Set the tone for the whole movie.
Cody
just being
care.
completely disappointing for me. I just was from that point on, I was like, I don't think I like this. But I gave it a second chance. I was like, okay, well, there's new characters, and the shark guy is supposed to be really funny. I didn't know that all of his funny lines were in the trailer again, so they used I thought he was going to be more fun than he was. And then they kill all the rebels in the village, and that to me wasn't funny. I feel like
that was kind of funny.
I just was like, this is
well, not all of them, but like
No,
half
but
of
it
them.
was that whole scene, like, no one outside of like the first person is holding a weapon. There's somebody like washing dishes. They jumped their head off, and it's like,
Did you not hear the footsteps or the gunshots?
Yeah, the one guy's in the bathtub and he gets electrocuted, and I'm like, this isn't.
Watching this whole thing, going, yeah, this it seems like they're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Like it was too over the top.
Sure.
Yeah, and then we get to the starfish bag like creature, and I'm like, well, that's kind of interesting how they like little starfishes suck your face and stuff. So the bad creature wasn't disappointing. That thing was actually kind of scary, and
It was too cute.
it was too cutesy though, but it wasn't terrible.
It was too cute.
But then killing Rick Flag and all of that, I was just like, I'm over this movie. Like, it's just, it did absolutely nothing for me. It was so completely disappointing that I'm thankful I watched it on HBO Max, so I didn't waste any money at the movie theater.
Wow.
At a Regal, you need to specify.
Yeah, at a
Okay.
to be honest, I would have come out from that movie upset that I had wasted money. It was that bad
Sure.
in my book.
Kyle, how did you feel about it?
Well, I didn't feel
Yeah.
like I wasted my money. I really enjoyed this movie because it stuck to what James Gunn is really good at making ridiculous characters grounded and believable, and you like would buy into, themselves as people, while James Gunn is still able to make like the world and make the scenario still ridiculous and crazy, but yet you still buy into it somehow because it's entertaining. And I think he also was able to, have the same type of comedy that he was able to use with like Guardians of the Galaxy, but he was able to be a bit more unhinged and make it more R-rated. And that's the same with like the action and the gore too. It remind me of, to a degree, like past movies that he's done, to where he really shows off like gore and stuff of that nature. So your complaints I didn't have a problem with. Like, I liked that, there was some unexpected killings. I liked that there was so much action to it that was fun and creative and gory and was able to make me laugh too. So I just came away, being able to laugh and smile from beginning to end. And I don't know, it was the right cup of tea and the right type of shakeup that I wanted from James Gunn.
See, I wonder if it's a male-female thing. Like, it just... So they did post-track exit scores, and it got the highest marks with teenage boys. Kyle, I think
what are
you're
you trying to
closer
say,
to
Cody?
teenage boys than I am at this point.
Well, yeah.
And so I just feel like that's the target demographic, but it was rated R,
Yeah.
and they couldn't go to the theater. So of course they all stayed home and watched HBO Max, and they were the
Sure.
ones that were going to enjoy it the most. It got the worst scores from those over 35.
Interesting.
I am much closer to that age group.
Right.
I think that's why I didn't enjoy it. I just didn't. I thought he would be more clever. I just found that he wasn't funny in an R rating. I wonder if his sweet funny spot is PG-13.
Is
like
pushing up against the line.
When they tone him down a little bit, then I think he's better. It's like Melissa McCarthy. When she's directed by her husband, she's not funny at all. But
Right.
she gets somebody good and they tone her down a bit, and then she's hilarious. Like,
Yeah.
I wonder if he was to me, he was just the same way. Because this might have been my first experience with rated R James Gunn.
I wondered about that too. If
Yeah.
it's a difference between the Guardians of the Galaxy James Gunn crowd not
Right.
expecting this out of him, or if it's... Yeah, I wonder if it is that, or if it's like the audiences such as me that has seen both PG-13 and R-rated James Gunn, to where you weren't surprised by the outcome.
I was open, though. I knew it was going to be different than Guardians, and I was
Sure.
open to that difference. I wanted a
Oh,
different.
yeah.
It just didn't deliver for me what it could have been. I enjoyed Mortal Kombat so much more than I enjoyed this. Like,
That's where I differ.
yeah, it's a different, a way
What?
different taste. You know what my really hot take was, though? Thursday night, I'm at home because I couldn't go to the theater anyway, so I'm watching this film. I'm so super disappointed, and I was like, screw it. I'll admit, I just liked the first Suicide Squad more.
I think you already admitted that anyway.
I liked
That's
it.
not a hot take.
I like it. The
anymore.
first Suicide Squad, I will watch it multiple times.
Well, I think Kyle and I can agree that because it made more money and was theatrical only, we like the first Suicide Squad better too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do it, Kyle.
Come to the dark side.
I don't like this.
Theater side only. That's the only reason. It was not better.
It was
Okay,
better.
what about Jungle Cruise?
Okay, Jungle Cruise. So I wasn't here last week, so I couldn't talk about that. This is one I also had to watch at home because I couldn't go to the theater.
To the Regal Theater.
To the Regal Theater to see this awful Regal Theater. So I watched it at home. It was my first time watching a Disney Plus thing at home. I'll just say that the user interface for trying to get the paid Disney Plus stuff is a little bit tricky, and I hope it screws up a bunch of people because it was not super user friendly. I had to like order it on one place and then enter a code, and it was
Oh, they do it that way?
it was a mess. And
That's always annoying.
and so I was okay with it, how sloppy that was.
Good.
The process there. Yeah. But I thought the movie was overall pretty cute. Definitely like what I expected from a Disney film. The action was fun. I, to be honest with you, didn't like The Rock and Emily Blunt having a love relationship. I didn't feel like that was needed at all. They
were playing like what am I trying to think of? Like the Romancing the Stone type
Yeah,
couple where they can't stand each other, but
Yeah.
yet they
And then they
can't
fall.
be without each other.
Yeah.
That type of thing. Okay,
And
I didn't
you
know that. Yeah.
And to me, there was not sexual chemistry there. There was a
Is
friendship.
there sexual anything in a Disney movie?
No, well, you can tell when there's like chemistry between the leads. Like
Right.
that's believable. I believe they would do it in real life. I don't believe that they would do it. Those two just did
because
not.
they're in happy, committed relationships.
No, they just
Anyway,
didn't feel like that was a
Sure.
thing. But I felt like they had this really good like best friend, companion, chemistry, and I just wish they would have left it at that. You don't have to fall just because you're a man in the jungle and a woman in the jungle. You don't have to fall in love. Like you can be friends.
It's hard to be sexual in the jungle. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Okay, last one.
Skeeters.
I was thinking swamp butt. But
What is this show?
so I didn't like that. I was just like they don't need to fall in love.
Sure.
She
Yeah.
doesn't. They don't need to kiss at the end. It just,
Okay, but there was good
yucky.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The rest was good. The brother, to me, hands down, was my favorite character.
Yeah, he's a really funny
A
comedian.
comedian,
Yeah.
so good. Like his character to me was the best character.
Jack Whitehall, yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that guy the most out of everything. Oh, and Jesse Plemons was really good as
Of course,
the
he is.
bad guy, but he was like
She's shocked.
he's really
I've
good.
never heard of this guy, but he's great.
He's amazing.
I know,
Meanwhile,
although when I was watching it, I was like, Kyle is probably just loving this guy right now. That's all I could think of was how much you love Jesse Plemons, and I'm like,
he's a great actor.
He's nailing it as the bad guy in this. But he's really captivating, and his like crazy German accent was so funny. I just couldn't help but be like, speak more.
Such a caricature.
Yeah.
But he is playing the German bad guy in the 30s. Like,
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
just like, they're like, yeah, you're doing okay, but crank it up to 12.
Right.
Like 11's not loud enough for us.
Right. Would it be fair to compare this to it being a toned down The Mummy, Brendan Fraser's The Mummy? Because I hear that more and more, like, oh, it's just like Pirates of the Caribbean. Like, that's the big comparison.
It's
I'm
not
like,
Pirates.
and at first, like, I probably thought that too, because like, oh, it's Disney, it's a family adventure
And it's in the
movie from a
jungle.
ride, and yeah. But the more I thought about it, I was like, well, honestly, the best comp might be a Disney-fied version of The Mummy.
It is.
Yeah.
The Mummy
for
was
sure.
funny, and this is trying to be funny too.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and the characters are imperfect, which is good.
Yeah.
They're not not that Indiana Jones was perfect, but everything always works out. And, none of the characters were that.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think makes it all the more better. Like, it's kind of annoying, at least to me, when, especially with characters like The Rock, they're like so perfect and so impervious
Yeah.
that it just gets, I mean, it can still be fun, but it's just like, yeah, but I'm having fun, but why do I want to root for this character anyway?
Yeah.
Because I would be messing up here.
My only criticism was they didn't have to end up lovers at the end. They
Yeah.
could have just been friends. But
Yeah, this
otherwise,
probably
I
wasn't
liked
needed.
it.
The
I
other
liked it all.
The other one that gets walked past, Paul Giamatti is in this.
Yeah. Was
he?
That's an awesome surprise.
Yeah, he's the boat
the boat owner.
Like the
Oh, I did not know
the
that.
dock owner
He's
that
got
is
a
trying to go
gold
after his
tooth and this
boat.
crazy South American accent and a
Yeah.
tan. It looks
He's
wild.
like Italian.
all right.
I think he's Italian boat
Yeah.
guy
Yeah, but this is the second.
with the parrot that's like Franco's money.
I guess that does sound like a role for Giamatti is, obviously well known for his wide range, and he always has like the best roles that he does so well in. And then every once in a while he does a Jungle Cruise or an
Yeah.
Amazing Spider-Man
Oh, no.
2,
He
or
gets-
where it's just like, why are you here?
There's a divorce or a kid's going to college.
Yeah.
So there's a paycheck involved. But I actually was going through his category, and this is the second movie he's been in with Dwayne Johnson. He was in San Andreas as the
Oh,
geologist or whatever the
earthquake
the
expert.
earthquake expert. There we
Yeah.
go.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh my God, this might be a thing now.
Yeah.
So now I'm like,
He's getting his best friends, and one of them happens to be Giamatti. That's amazing.
I'm like super pumped for the next one they do together.
Yeah, it's gonna be the sequel to Hobbs and Shaw, and
Paul Giamatti's the bad guy with the
Yeah.
Christopher Waltz
yeah,
bad guy.
Let's make that happen,
Christoph
Rock. Come
Waltz.
on.
So You weren't high on this. I think it was
okay.
It was a decent adventure for kids, for young teens.
Yeah.
They could probably grow
I would
up with
say
this.
older kids. Our younger kids watched it and had no interest in it. Just didn't do anything for them. So
Gotcha.
it is definitely for older people. But
Do they also enjoy like cartoon movies more than
Yes.
like live action ones right
Yeah.
now?
I
Because
think
usually in
for the
that
most
younger
part.
I think in that younger age, like they would rather be in like, the
Well,
make believe
I
lands
think
over
outside
like real
Goonies.
ones.
They
doesn't
not
help.
really like.
But Goonies is
loved.
amazing,
Yeah.
so that's fair.
But it doesn't help that they're walking into like this golden age of computer animation where it's like Frozen 2 and Raya and Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Right.
And then it's like now you have to watch actual people acting on a screen without any cutouts, and
That was my
Yeah.
other criticism. All the animals are CGI in this, and I was like, "That's dumb.
I've
This is
heard-
really dumb. Why are they all CGI?"
that was
I've heard the CGI was pretty bad.
It wasn't bad, but it was very blatant. Like, this is a fake animal right here.
Yeah, if you want to make, I mean, the jungle stuff, I guess it's fair to make some of it CGI, but maybe like for, I don't know, what do they have, a tiger or something?
Yeah,
like maybe
you
for a
could-
tiger, get a somewhat real
You couldn't
tiger?
put a real one. Oh, I think it's a leopard. You couldn't put a real leopard for just some of the shots in there.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get a real monkey. Everything was CGI.
Yeah,
It was.
that's kind of a bummer. Takes you out of it sometimes.
It does.
It did. They were so shiny that it distracted from it. But yeah, that was, I mean, geez, stuff from a distance was even fake.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't shoot an Amazon shot and have some birds flying and just
Right.
make it
I
work.
mean, they were in Hawaii, and they did do some like jungle shots in Hawaii,
Yeah.
but you couldn't do more. Like,
Well, I mean, there were so many like snake on a branch that was fake.
Yeah.
You can't put a snake on a branch.
Or like a rubber snake and be like, ooh.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not a sound a snake makes. Ooh.
something.
yeah, that was my other
a ghost snake.
criticism. It was just so fake and shiny on
Oh.
the other stuff, and little kids aren't gonna notice. But
Right.
it's just the stuff that makes us not want to watch it again.
Yeah, and it even subconsciously, I guess it's possible that could cause a kid to also not want to watch it again. 'Cause I don't know,
No,
maybe
live,
not.
They live in that
It's
world.
possible.
They
Yeah.
live in that world. It doesn't even phase them.
Sure.
I watched a blurry Space Jam at the. My son still loves it.
Well, that's a good point. That's fair.
They don't care.
I try to give kids some credit, but maybe find the right line, Kyle.
Yeah, there's another hot take.
Yeah.
Speaking of takes that we don't want to be hot, who's going to walk through this vaccine card thing in New York City? We're gonna mention this and then we're moving on.
We're moving on.
I have no interest in talking about
I'm going to
vaccines
put it in the
anymore.
context of
Yeah.
this is what's happening. We have big markets. Our industry is made up of like New York and LA and the top 25 markets.
Yeah.
And in these markets, there are just a lot of people, a lot of executives, and the narrative is that the Delta variant is rising and causing issues. And especially in places like LA, it is rising.
Yep.
It is causing issues, and that's where all the studio executives are and theater chain executives. And so you're getting this like cautious like narrative out there in the media that we got to do something and we can't really mask mandate. And so yes, they are going in some places going to require proof of vaccination, and it's a liability issue in these spots. And this is what these companies feel is the best way to limit liability, and in case somebody gets transmitted the virus in their establishment. Now that's never happened. We've been in this thing over a year now, and no transmissions have ever happened in a movie theater. But is this going to be like the next new thing, the next mask mandate? I don't think so. I think that a lot of independent theaters are found in rural areas. The Delta variant is getting bad in rural areas, but I think rural areas are the least likely to require something like this. So I don't think it'll ever come from the studios. The studios are never going to be like, you can't get our print unless you require proof of vaccinations, just like they never made people do masks. So I don't think you ever have to worry about it coming from the studio side. Whether it comes locally, I think we're just looking at big places like New York and LA. I really don't think that this is going to become widespread. But all it does is adds to that national narrative and the perception that the variant is causing issues. And what we hope is that it doesn't lead to studios pulling back prints of stuff or movies off the release schedule. And that's what we're hoping for. So you're going to probably hear more about blurbs like New York and LA may go to this. I don't think you're going to hear about it across the country. And I just hope that it gets downplayed enough that we don't get into this vicious cycle that the Delta variant is causing people not to go to the movie theater. Because the reality is that people went and they're going even with the Delta variant. They turned out for Jungle Cruise. They just didn't turn out for Suicide Squad because Suicide Squad was a bad movie. So we get a good movie, maybe Free Guy, and we'll get people turned out again because there are a lot of vaccinated people that want to live their life. And we think, that just vaccine passports are going to turn people away. Well, there's still a lot of people that are vaccinated. So I feel like that gets forgotten or swept under the rug, and we're just all surrounded by unvaccinated people that are dying from the Delta variant. And that's just, I don't think the reality anywhere is happening.
Yeah, last week I was thinking that the numbers for Suicide Squad would be what determines the next move for studios in terms of how to handle the Delta variant. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of surprised to see that there wasn't much or just about anything that didn't change after that opening.
Yeah.
So now I'm thinking...
Because it was bad and everybody's on my page.
I'm just more thinking like at this point they're just going to stick to their guns and release what they can release and see how it goes.
I think they're cautious.
I think they are too, because they're in their... like you were saying, in like the LAs and the New Yorks where it is being hit the hardest. But in the grand scheme of things, I think you're right that like the rural areas, while it will be affected, it just won't be, I guess the best way to say it is noticeable.
Yeah.
And so we may still see, the lower opening numbers, the drop-offs. But I think at this point, that's just the way it is, even with this new variant.
Well, and we're also heading into September, end of August, September. Kids are going back to school. We don't know what's going to happen with schools and masking and closures there. That will play a lot into the national narrative of where we're at with stuff. And we're just heading into a bad time for movie going anyways. Yeah. So there is going to be a drop off. We historically have always dropped off at this time of year. And I don't see this year being an exception. Mm-hmm. So we do have a theater exclusive title with Free Guy this weekend, and that, it's not on Disney Plus. So that's going to be a big indicator for Disney on how well this film does. They're also doing that with Shang-Chi at Labor Day weekend, and Labor Day weekend people don't really go. So I'm a little worried that
until now,
that they're gearing up Shang-Chi to not perform, and then they're going to use it as it didn't perform, but Labor Day weekend is historically not a good performance weekend anyways, so we'll just have to really watch that one, keep that one in mind for sure on that. But then we'll go into September, and there's not a lot of great product. There's a couple good films like Cry Macho I'm really looking forward to. Mm-hmm. I think that for our areas,
and we have Venom and Evan Hansen at the end of the month.
Yeah that's true too.
But I think end of September into October, if that holds up, I think that'll really
keep talking about that. We've got like 10 A titles in 4 weeks.
We've got so many. It looks so good.
But now that we're done with the vaccines, can we talk about the big movie news from this week? Other than the trailers for Cry Macho and
of course we can.
Journal for Jordan.
Yeah. What was the big news?
The cast for John Wick 4 is getting even better.
Better how?
Better how? You have Keanu Reeves, Ian McShane, Lance Reddick, and now Clancy Brown.
Yes.
I am so excited for this.
Yeah, I am as well. Like, these movies are already awesome, and they just know how to, I don't know, they know how to take like the best actors that you've seen them before but don't know where, and they just make magic. It's an awesome franchise.
And they sprinkle in.
I don't know if I've seen a John Wick outside the first one.
You should, because they're awesome.
Ken,
what are you doing?
I recently rewatched the third one, and they start the first fight scene in that is with Boban, who plays in the NBA.
Yeah.
He's like 7'6", and he's fighting Keanu Reeves, and he's only in it for a few minutes before the fight ends. But
Before Keanu kills him.
of course, he kills everyone.
Yeah.
He's Baba Yaga. Can't be defeated. But they sprinkle in, looking at the casting, they sprinkle in these characters that are great martial artists and fighters that are going to make things interesting.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to the parlor with Ian McShane.
Yeah.
Like, as the old cultured voice, and then Lawrence Fishburne, and then it's like amazing fight scene, and then Lance Reddick takes in the dog with his crazy deep voice.
Right.
It's like, it's perfect. Just the perfect franchise.
Yeah, it really is. Like, I can't believe, like, the first movie, no one thought this movie was going to do anything, and now it's just one of the best action franchises right now. And
Yeah.
it's awesome seeing an actor like Clancy Brown get to have, like, cool roles such as, like, this movie.
Yeah, getting the opportunity. I don't know if it was the Dexter thing, not that I care about Dexter being on streaming, but seeing him in it is, almost reason enough for me to pay for
Right.
Showtime.
I forgot he was going to be in that.
Oh,
That's
I
crazy.
know. It's pulling at my heartstrings.
Yeah.
Almost makes me want to cry. Macho.
Macho.
And on that transition,
Yeah. So Warner Brothers released the Cry Macho trailer. Cry Macho is from Clint Eastwood,
yeah, directed by Clint Eastwood.
starring Clint Eastwood.
Yeah, I believe it's based off a book he wrote too, like many years ago.
Authored by Clint Eastwood. Obituary by Clint Eastwood. Do you
Not
think
yet,
he
man.
speaks at his own funeral? Like he's on the video
Like
screen?
he's pre-recorded something
I was
already.
thinking he's sitting in the or he's standing at the mic, and then he goes, "Okay, now I'm dead," and then he just hops into the coffin. That's how I imagine it personally, but
Clint Eastwood was old when I was growing up.
yeah.
Not like old, but he was past his like action prime.
Yeah.
And even still, he got literally a second career by directing, I guess, grittier action movies than what he's,
So-
acted in before.
So
crazy.
the stuff that he just directs does okay. When you say directed by Clint Eastwood,
Richard Jewell and Invictus and
they're just okay.
was the other one, The
But I
Dry
think
or
when
something?
he is actually stars
Mule.
in it,
The Mule he started. Though.
Yeah.
And that
Did he not direct it?
he directed
no.
it too.
But I'm saying what I'm saying
when
is
he's
when he's on screen, the film does
Oh.
so much more. And
Okay.
and
My
he
bad.
is really like one of the only men I think that can really speak to that transition in a man's life of what it means, what macho means, and what that masculinity is.
Yeah.
And I like how he's speaking about this without it becoming some toxic political conversation. Like he really is getting at the heart and soul of what it means to transition in your life, especially for a man, being young and then growing older.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And Gran
This looks
Torino
so
was this
good.
movie like pre 2019.
yeah.
Like Gran Torino was like that. I'm a tough guy, but I'm going to start taking care of people.
Right. I guess that's kind of been the theme of his movies that he's kind of acted and directed in lately. Like he still is like that grizzled cowboy, but it's one that is,
Softer.
I guess, kind of softer, or like not preaching, but showcasing like the mistakes.
maybe
a man
more
can make and-
introspective.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
But again, this one, casting,
Oh,
bitchin'.
it looks so good.
Dwight Yoakam. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll watch anything he's in, and that's saying something from a guy who's been in like 10 movies.
Right.
I'll watch anything he's in. The Crank movies that he's in are
Yeah.
ridiculous. He was in Logan Lucky, which I love.
Oh, that movie is great.
I love
Yeah.
that movie, but him in it, I love.
Yeah.
We don't have an escape problem here at Monroeville.
I should really watch that again. That movie's just
Yeah.
awesome.
And Crank, I could watch just for his scenes where he's like the crazy, like drug addicted doctor
Yeah. Yeah.
with naked assistants doing surgeries.
Well, I mean, this movie is nothing like Crank, but
No.
it
Well-
will appeal to the
Oh.
Clint Eastwood crowd, which
I
might
think
be
it-
bigger than
Country
think it
Western
looks-
crowd.
think.
It looks like the best thing coming out in September right now to me.
Yeah.
Is this?
You
is
keep
this
saying
film.
that, but we have Evan Hansen, which is
I'm
made
not
so-
counting the end of the.
You're not counting the movies that come out the next weekend?
No, because they're like 9/24. They're coming out the very last weekend of the month, and
That's practically October.
I think Cry Macho looks better than Dear Evan Hansen.
Does it look better than Venom.
No, but I think Venom looks really good.
I think there's an argument to be
I
made
think
there,
maybe
but-
for a certain demographic, it is definitely better than Venom.
and let's be honest, if we're thinking about like what could potentially have awards consideration
or legs,
or legs
last longer than 3 weeks.
it could be that.
I'm just thinking for rural Western exhibitors, this is gonna be really good.
That's what we need. Yeah.
Yeah, and it targets an older demographic that is not going to look for this stuff on streaming. They won't have streaming platforms. They will go to the theater for this, and that to me is just adding check mark on it. So.
And then as a father, they released the trailer for Journal for Jordan.
Oh, I knew just when you read the synopsis back, when we had been talking to Sony about this film earlier, and they talked about their Christmas release, and just the synopsis gets you teary. I can't, adding the visual element of it.
And we'll watch anything Michael B. Jordan's in. 'Cause he's such a good actor.
He is
except
really
for the whatever Tom Clancy movie that was on Amazon.
Oh, I didn't.
He was
bother
in
with
a
that
Tom
one.
Clancy movie.
He played
Came out
the
this year,
Harrison
yeah.
Ford character. Ghost. It wasn't Ghost Protocol. What the hell is it called?
Without Remorse.
Without Remorse. There we
I know
go.
what it was.
Yeah.
It is in the back burner because it went streaming only. It should have been a movie.
Yeah.
Should've been a
Movie
real-
theater movie.
No, it's a real movie.
Yeah. But we'll watch anything he's in. And this is like the first like emotional drama.
Romance,
Without-
feel good movie.
Yeah.
that he's done, I think.
Yeah.
Nothing
it's-
in
Well,
this
so he
camp.
plays a soldier. He falls in love, and the movie really chronicles his, relationship with his wife, and they have a baby, and he journals to his son about what it's like to be a man and how to fall in love, and all of that. And then that he doesn't survive the war. So this journal is all this baby's ever gonna have.
Right.
Oh, so
You
sad.
okay?
Yeah.
She's tearing up thinking about it.
Terrible.
So if you want a tearjerker on Christmas,
Yeah.
No,
it's probably the right time for that type of movie.
at
though.
least it's not Cats. That's what I'm saying.
Oh God.
I mean, there you go. It's not Cats.
Hey, that's a better selling point for any movie that's coming out at
Yeah.
Christmas. It could be Sing 2. It's not Cats.
Cry Macho. It's not Cats.
Yeah, Universal's got to be so happy they have Sing 2 this year.
Versus trying to sell us Cats.
Oh my God, that
Don't
was
have
such
to-
a nightmare.
Don't have to deal with that ever again.
Ugh. Well,
And they treated it like it was Les Mis.
they did. They treated
in the awards
Like it was
No.
Greatest
part,
Showman.
and they
No.
tried.
The way they came to
the way
us.
they came to us, what they said about it, their expectations for it. It was the next Les Mis, and if we didn't support them, we weren't going to get their other stuff.
It was-
down the road. It was like
Wow.
that crazy.
Yeah.
And we did. We gave them spots because we had, we were really forced into it, and it was such a dud. And then they were so upset when we would come off after like 2 weeks.
No, it'll be better the second week.
Oh my God! It'll find its groove.
It'll
no,
find-
no, it'll never find.
That's not how movies work.
Yeah.
If it doesn't do well the first week, it's not doing anything.
Oh, and then it was like, why aren't you playing it off in your other locations? I'm not bringing this turd of a movie in anywhere.
The reviews were so bad and so vicious. There was nothing you could do with it.
No.
After that initial bump at Christmas for just because people were forced to go to the theater
Yeah.
to get away from their families.
Yeah.
And now they reconsidered that choice while watching it.
Yeah. It's like, Cats.
Wild.
If you watch the trailer, I don't know how you went to it.
Yeah. I don't know either.
But anyway, that has nothing to do with the Journal for Jordan. It
No.
looks miles
Absolutely
better.
does.
It's not even from Universal.
No,
it's from Sony Pictures.
And it's going to be theater exclusive. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing some weird like platform release stuff.
Yeah.
Sony will platform it. They'll open it New York and LA. They'll go a little wider at Christmas, and then the bulk of the run will be after in January.
I'm not sure what purpose that serves for this type of movie. I mean, it looks good, but I don't see
They're
it.
trying to create word of mouth, and then they want to get in for Oscar consideration.
I guess Denzel Washington is like the director, and Michael B.
Yeah.
Jordan is obviously like one of the best actors right now. But even still, it doesn't. Well, I haven't seen the movie, but it
It's
just
just that
doesn't
time.
scream
It's
that
just
to me.
time of year, and
It
there's
has-
a lot coming out at Christmas. I'm glad they're platforming it because I will probably need it in January more than I need it at Christmas. I've got
That's a good
Scene
point.
2. We've got the Spider-Man.
No Way Home.
No Way Home, the
Yeah.
multiverse Spider-Man. We've got a Matrix 4.
I
you know,
forgot that's coming out
that's
still.
there. What else do we? There's one other one I feel like we.
Paw Patrol. No, I'm just kidding.
that we
Dear Evan
had.
Hansen, Venom 2.
We gotta
No,
keep going.
There was something else that is
Oh,
also.
West Side Stories the week before.
Yeah, West Side Story was the week before.
That one will be interesting to see.
American
how it plays
Underdog
out.
was also the week before,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of
which
I
looks
guess
like
feel good stories,
yeah.
or I guess could be crowd pleasers as well.
We've got a lot, but you can't platform a Michael B. Jordan movie now. He's like one of the 10 biggest Hollywood stars,
Yeah.
leading men, and you're gonna platform a release. This isn't Green Knight.
That's how
get
you-
it out there, get it on screen.
That's how you build up buzz, I
no,
guess.
that's not how you build up buzz. That's how you lose out on. That's what they did with Just Mercy, and it didn't play
right.
That's true.
and make big money. They're like, we'll just slow roll this one out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You slowed it too much.
we saw this happen once before.
There's
That's a good
time for
comparison.
Sony to make a change on this.
Oh,
Coming out September. Oh,
yeah.
so close.
Feel good story now releasing January 1st.
Gosh.
All
What?
right.
Yeah, that's it. That's all that we have for today, right?
It is. Yeah.
All right, perfect. And on that note, thank you everyone for listening to this episode of the Off the Break podcast. You can find us on all podcast platforms and over at silverscreeninsider.com, where if you're a theater owner needing updated and accurate film information for the upcoming releases and social media assets to promote those movies, check out our website.
All right, everybody. Big weekend, big grosses. We have 3 theatrical only releases.
I know. It's
A lot of
minute.
variety.
very exciting. And next week, yeah, even more coming in, and then it's gonna get ugly in September. But that's fine.
hey.
Let's just stay positive. I'm
Yeah.
really excited for Free Guy this weekend. I
Kyle,
can't wait to go
what
see
is
it.
your prediction on Free Guy
Oh,
for an
yeah.
opening weekend?
$110 million.
Now now the analysts are predicting that it's going to have a small opening, maybe like 19-20 million.
I know, I
range.
saw that, which is crazy, right?
I think so.
110 million.
Now, okay, there's a couple things. Ryan Reynolds, while he has a massive social media following, pales in comparison to The Rock's. The Rock accounted for most social media traffic on Jungle Cruise, just his platforms alone.
Yeah,
So
you pay money for that.
yeah, and so he's very good about promoting on his platforms. So that, I think, directed a lot of interest in Jungle Cruise. I don't know if we're getting that same amount with Ryan Reynolds. I'm not saying
we
he's
are.
a slouch though. So
He plays it just as well as The Rock does.
I'm wondering if the video game aspect is going to put off some older demographic, so it's not an all audience film as much as Jungle Cruise. So I think 20 million is right where we're going to be at.
Okay.
But if it gets to 30, I'm not going to be upset. Like, I
No,
would love
that
to
would be-
see it be a $30 million opening.
I'm going to say 45 million this weekend.
Really? You're going to go
As
out on a limb and say
Is
No,
this
I
making
think-
fun of me or
No,
is
I
this
think
serious?
I think
Yes.
Ryan Reynolds, the video games, young people make trends. Young people make things cool and popular, and that's who this movie is made for. This isn't made for people over 40. And the younger people are the ones that are going out. It's not older crowds that are generally going out.
And they're the ones that like Deadpool too.
That's
Damn
true.
right.
Okay.
45.
I mean,
I'm gonna
I'm
I'm
as
gonna
someone
say,
who said 60 million for the Suicide Squad, I'm not
Yeah.
agreeing to the 45 thing.
He's
But
taken it all the way to 110.
I like the optimism though. Hey, 200 million.
yeah,
That's right.
right. I'm
I
going to go
help
25.
you help me, I help you.
$4,500 million billion dollars.
I'm going to split the difference. I'm going to say it's more than the analysts are saying, but I don't know if it'll be a 30.
Cody's going with a hot 25.
Hot 25. What are you going to go with, Kyle?
I'm going to temper those expectations and I'll say 23.
Okay.
I'll say 23.
They have no faith in you, theater owners, that you're going to put it out there and make this happen. Make it happen for us.
Yeah.
Love to see it.
What are we going to do if it doesn't make 45 million?
Then we
So,
celebrate.
I feel like we need to put something on the table here.
First comment on the podcast post is what I will do. PG-13 rated,
Okay.
but let's do this.
What?
PG-13 rated, but we'll do it here on the podcast next week.
Oh gosh.
Tell me anything you
punishments.
wanted me to do.
Yeah.
It'll hold us accountable and get us better at our predictions.
Yeah, and then if you want to, I'll watch.
Don't make it too crazy though, because then we'll always underpredict. So that
I'll watch
2 million, 1
I'll watch
million.
a Jimmy Stewart movie.
don't do it, Ken. It's not worth it.
Just make sure to turn up the volume loud so Cody can hear that voice.
No, you better listen to that on earbuds.
All right, everybody, have a big weekend.
Bye.
Bye.